Hi, I'm Ariel. This is Nala. Today I'm just going to be answering some questions about my pregnancy, labor, delivery, and how it is being a new mom. A lot of people kept asking me questions, so I just asked my Instagram followers just to leave some questions if they had some. So first question is, what did her kicks feel like in your stomach? So it really kind of felt like popcorn at first, like little pops in my stomach, and as she got bigger, I could feel stronger pops. So it was like kicks and jabs. And then as she got even bigger, she started slithering around. I saw online that somebody described it as like a bag of snakes in your stomach. And that's kind of how it felt. Why'd you pick the name Nala? So I actually had a list of names to choose from. And on that list, I'm really big on meaning. My name means lioness. And so on that list, I had names that meant lioness and then names that meant butterfly, because I caught a butterfly 2 weeks before she was born. I pretty much just looked at her and I just kept saying the names over in my head, and Nala really fit her to me. So how did you feel when you first found out you were pregnant? How did you react? I was actually really sad. I wanted to start crying in the doctor's office. I had asked him was he sure that the test was positive, because this just really wasn't, of course it wasn't planned. It just wasn't something that I wanted at the moment. But it was done. So I just really had to get over that sadness and just figure out a plan at that point. How did my family react? So I found out December 22nd, and I was gonna tell them when I went home for Christmas break. But the day of Christmas, my auntie told us that she was pregnant, and so I just was sitting there so I had to figure out how I was gonna tell them, because I just feel like if I would have said oh, I am too, they would have been like, what? They was happy for her, but I feel like it would have been a different reaction for me, and I didn't want to ruin her moment. So I tried to come back home several times and tell them in person, but I was just really nervous. I ended up just telling my grandma over the phone because I couldn't hold it in no more. It was the end of February at this point, so I was almost 4 months pregnant. So yeah, it was a hot mess. And then I had my grandma tell my mom, because I knew my mom would have just flipped out on me. I just didn't want to go through that. But what were your symptoms? 2 weeks before I went to the doctor, I had threw up, and I was just like, dang, I hope that was because I had just took a pill without eating that day. And then I had got sick, and when I went to the doctor, I just felt like I was dying. When I went to the doctor, I had all these extra symptoms, and then that's when they were like, well, nausea, vomiting, headaches isn't linked with this sickness that we think that you have, so we're gonna perform a pregnancy test. And that's when I found out I was pregnant. Did it hurt? Was it as painful as people say? If so, what can you compare the pain to, and did it hurt pushing? So to answer all of that, yes, it hurt bad, but it's not it's not unbearable. It's definitely you have to really just work hard to tolerate it. I definitely see why people get medication, because I mean it's hard. I just dealt with it. Really, did it hurt pushing? That's the part that kind of didn't hurt, because at that point I wasn't doing it. How the way contractions work is it's your uterus squeezing the baby. So my body was pretty much doing it, because at that point the contractions was just pushing my baby out. I wasn't doing it. Water birth experience, but I do it again, and the reason why. So the reason why I chose to do a water birth is that I was just on YouTube looking at pregnancy videos and labor and birth videos, and I saw how a lot of people really enjoyed the water birth. When I would watch water birth videos compared to regular natural birth videos, the person would just seem more calm, and they just were in serenity kind of. So I was like, okay, I think I want to do that. Do you think there's benefits to water births? I kind of do, because like I said, it's just just imagine taking a hot bath after you worked out or something. It's pretty much the same thing. I was relaxed. If I'm relaxed, the baby will be relaxed. And then also people think the baby will suck in water, but babies actually breathe as a response to oxygen. So she's coming from a water sac into water, so it's she didn't breathe yet. And I think it's a more soothing experience for her to come out in water instead of with lights and people all around her. So I just think it's a more stress-free experience. My fears of risk. So My doctor was telling me about the risk, and she said that usually there's a higher risk for people with like gestational diabetes or preeclampsia, and I didn't have none of those, so she was like okay with it. But I mean, if it was like really risky for me myself, then she wouldn't have like let me do it. And I also read about risk for the babies, but like I said, I just really trusted it. Like I just figured, like, what were people doing back in the day? Would I do it again? I'm not thinking about that right now for real, but honestly, if I was to get pregnant again, I would do the same thing. I feel like it would have been way worse if I wasn't in the water. Challenges about being a new mom. Was it a big adjustment? So challenges I'm facing is really like sleeping, especially like at night. And sometimes she'll sleep for like 5 hours, and that's great. But other times she'll sleep for like an hour at a time, and that's when it gets really frustrating because it's like, because it's like sometimes the feedings take about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So then it's like she'll be like sleep on the boob, and then I will put her down and she'll wake up like 20 minutes later, and it's just like, oh my gosh. But that's like the biggest adjustment so far. I'm really loving everything else. Just to know that she came out of me, it's like, it's really weird. Like, it's really weird to describe it. But sometimes I do wake up in the middle of the night and I feel my stomach like explain how my hormones are being affected. Well, definitely while I was pregnant, I could tell like I had like an increase to like hormones, because I was very irritable. Like, it took nothing to irritate me. And then after I gave birth, I literally felt normal. Like, I felt like my pre-pregnancy self. I was looking like back at my pregnancy, and I just felt like it was a dream. Literally right after I gave birth, like I was just thinking about being pregnant, and it felt like it wasn't real. And even when I gave birth to her, it felt like it wasn't real. Like, I feel like that didn't happen. Was it worth all the missed periods? Yes. I wasn't even thinking about a period. My friends would talk about tampons and pads, and I'd be like, dang, I forgot all about that. Like, how your vagina feels. It feels normal. Expectations versus reality. I really expected, being pregnant, my expectations, it was really kind of like vague a little bit, because I didn't really know, like, of course I was never pregnant before, so I didn't know what to expect. But I was kind of expecting like my stomach to be heavy all the time, or me to be tired all the time. And it was the absolute opposite, except for in the beginning, I felt like I was gonna die. But once I got to like the middle of my second trimester, it's like I wasn't in pain. My stomach wasn't really heavy. I just was living life. For labor and delivery, I really didn't know what to expect once again. I just was trying to make sure like I wasn't scared, because a lot of people say like when they were scared, they just get in a moment and like panic. So I just made sure that I was really like, if anything, I had like a positive look on giving birth. I was just like, all right, it's gonna happen. Like, and then the reality was, it happened like really fast. Even looking back right now, being in labor, I felt like I was in a dream world once again. Did I have morning sickness? Yes, I did, a lot. And it was so annoying. Like, I threw up every day. I couldn't keep down nothing. Water, no. I was supposed to be taking prenatal vitamins, and I could not take them. But that was just in the first trimester. So, I mean, I got over that, and I got to eating a whole bunch. I even lost like 5 pounds in the beginning because I was not eating. Complications and scares. So yes, actually, when I was around, I know this is gonna sound really stupid, but this is when I just found out I was pregnant. So I had to be like 6-7 weeks. I had went skiing, and I didn't think I would fall like that, because I'm good at skiing. Like, I go a lot with my family, but I failed a lot, like, and hard. So I wasn't really thinking about that though, because I'm like, well, the baby is small right now. I'll say like a week after I came from skiing, I had noticed that I was bleeding, and I had passed a blood clot probably the size of like this big. And so when I went to the hospital, I thought I was having a miscarriage, and I was really like sad. But they looked at my baby, and they saw that her heart was still beating strong, and that she was still moving around. And it was actually just something called subchorionic hemorrhage, and that had to do with my placenta's attachment to my uterus or something like that. But it pretty much healed over, like, it healed by itself. So that's the only complication I had. Yeah. Did anyone switch up? To make a long story short, yes. It's really, I mean, either people switched up or just got to acting weird. Favorite part and my least favorite part, I'm guessing they meant about pregnancy. So my favorite part was, I hope I don't sound some type of way because it is, but the type of attention people show when it was like positive. So like I'll be at work and somebody gave me a 20 just because I was pregnant. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Or it's like, I never wanted to pull the pregnancy card. I don't think that's like a real thing because some people actually do need like extra help. But honestly, I really had like a lot of energy. I did a lot of stuff on my own, but it felt good when somebody just like offered to help or like would just do stuff for me, and I'd be like, oh, thank you. Like I could have did it, but thank you. My least favorite part was probably everything else. So people talking to me like, oh dang, you probably need to be sitting down, you don't need to be on your feet, like, or just trying to tell me stuff like, oh, the doctors say you shouldn't eat this. Like, how you gonna tell somebody who's going to the doctor and who's going through this experience? You're not going through it, but you telling somebody else who's going through it what to do and stuff, and like you ain't had kids or nothing. Like, that was the most irritating part about this whole thing. The other irritating part was just like everything was hard. If I dropped my phone in the car, I'll just have to wait until I get to my destination because I can't reach down like that. Getting out the bed, like scoot and like roll out, and then yeah, just pretty much like maneuvering about was really like irritating. So labor, Thursday the 15th, I was having contractions all day for like, they were like 20 minutes apart, but they were like intense. And like I started having brown discharge too, so I called the doctor and she told me to come when my contractions were 2 to 5 minutes apart and that the brown discharge was normal for this time in my pregnancy. So I did that, and they kind of just were like getting farther apart and closer together. Like they were really irregular. But when I laid down at night, it was probably about 11:50. They just started hitting me back to back, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. And so my mom called me coincidentally and asked me how I was doing. And I told her, I said, honestly, I think I should go to the hospital because these contractions have not stopped. And the doctor told me to wait for about an hour. But my mom was at work, so I figured by the time she got home, got dressed, it would be like an hour. So after she did do all of that, it was about an hour. And my contractions were still coming really close together. And so on the way to the hospital, they actually got farther apart, but they were still intense. And so I was kind of getting a little discouraged because they usually send people home. They want you to do early labor at home so you're not like in the hospital for days. So when I got there, she checked my cervix and I was only at 1 centimeter. And that really discouraged me because I'm like, wow, they're really about to send me home. Usually they keep you if you're over 4 centimeters because that's active labor. Some people could be at 1 centimeter for 2 weeks, 2 centimeters for like 2 weeks, and 3. So that's why I was just really discouraged at that point. But they were monitoring my baby and they said she wasn't reacting to the contractions how she was supposed to. So they decided to induce me. And I got induced. I didn't get medicine. I got the Foley bulb balloon, which basically, it looks like a party animal balloon. And they just put it up like to your cervix, and then only the top part blows up. So they put water in it to blow it up, and they left it in for about like 4 hours. So basically I got admitted at 5, and then they did the induction at 6, and they didn't come back to check me until almost, well, she checked me at 11 to get the balloon out. And usually if you can pull the balloon out, you're more farther dilated. So when the doctor came back to check me, it was close to 12. She told me I was at 4 centimeters dilated, and I pretty much slept from 6 to 12. Like I slept for majority of that time. I was still having contractions, but I was just trying to get rest. So after she checked me that I was at 4 centimeters, my contractions just got way more intense, like unbearable. Like I was shaking and making noise and everything. So I had sat in the shower for a long time. They didn't have my water birth room yet because the hospital was booked. So I just had like a regular delivery room for a majority of my labor. And pretty much I sat in the shower for like an hour, and the water was piping hot. It pretty much just feels like a period cramp, but 80,000, probably infinity times worse. Like it's really terrible. But the good part is about like labor contractions is that it doesn't last like the whole time. Contractions last like a minute to like a minute and 30 seconds. So you pretty much get like a little break in between. But for me, my contractions were only like a minute to 2 minutes apart at that point. So I wasn't getting that long of a break. But I still got like a break. So they moved me to my room at 3, and I'll say like 1:30, 2 o'clock. This is when I was still in the shower. I didn't want to get out because I told my doula that I had to poop. I was like, it just feels like I have to poop. Like I just don't want to get out of the shower. She's like, it's fine, that's normal. If you gotta poop, you can try to poop. So I was trying to poop and nothing was coming out. Like I didn't feel gassy or nothing. I just like really felt like I had to poop. They moved me to the water room at like 3, and I was literally having contractions. Like I still felt like I had to poop. Like all this whole time, I just really felt like I had to poop. And like each contraction, I was like making noise and everything. When I got to the room, she asked me if I wanted to labor in the tub for a minute or do I want to like not labor in the tub. And I told her yes, because I was literally like in so much pain. And when I got in the tub, I had asked her if I could get my cervix checked because I still signed the epidural paperwork just in case, because like I said, I didn't know what to expect. So I told her, I said, can you ask the midwife to check me because like this is too painful. I think I want an epidural. So she called the midwife and she was like, she's on her way. But at this point, I was having contractions still in the water. I literally felt her head coming through like my vagina, but I didn't recognize it as that. Literally, like, you know how like you throw up and your stomach just pump? That's what was happening. Like each contraction, my stomach was just squeezing really, really hard. Like she was sliding out. So by the time she came back to check on me, her head popped out and I felt that part. And my mom was like, it's a lot of blood. Like the tub filled up with a lot of blood. And so she left out, and the nurse was like, oh, that is a lot of blood. And she told me to turn around so she could see, you know, how my labor was going. And she said the baby's head is out. So and then I just lay back in the tub and I pushed one more time and she slid out. So that was pretty much my labor experience. I put like all of this stuff in my birth plan, so it went exactly how I wanted it to. And you know, they followed my birth plan to the T. So I'm really happy that, you know, she's here and she's healthy. And yeah, that's my labor. Do you feel like you would have postpartum? I think this person meant depression. And no, I haven't felt like that yet. I'm really, really happy that I got to do my birth how I wanted to and that I got my baby healthy. And I'm just really happy. What did you learn about yourself during pregnancy? I learned that I really do not tolerate like nothing. Literally, people have one time and that's it. And I think that's also how I stay so stress-free, is that I just didn't let people constantly irritate me and stress me out. Like sometimes you just have to not answer the phone. Sometimes you just have to block people. Like it's all for the babe. And that's another thing, like you must stay stress-free because the emotions you feel, your baby feels it in the same intensity. So if you working yourself up to the point where like, are you crying so hard to where you getting headaches and you going through it with your man and it's all this stuff going on, the baby is feeling all of that. So that's what I was just thinking about. Like I was just thinking about my baby. Like I can't be stressed out because I don't want her to be stressed out. Worst part of labor. My worst part of labor was probably right before I pushed, because it was to the point where it was unbearable. Like I was literally about to ask for the epidural because I just couldn't take it no more. But thank God it was like that, I guess, because she was literally coming out. Oh, and it didn't hurt pushing, really. Like that, it kind of was a relief each time. When baby was born, did I instantly feel ready? No, because even when I was in labor, I kept telling myself like, I'll probably be here all night. Like I was just thinking about the pain, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this all day. Like, so I just had that in mind. Like I'll probably give birth Saturday. It was Friday. I'll probably give birth Saturday or later on tonight. But that was the opposite. What did you do the first day I got home? So I was allowed to go home 24 hours after. And they ask if you want to go home because some people like need help with breastfeeding. But yeah, I went home Saturday, and the first thing I did was I laid her in her DockATot, and just let her sleep, because she was still sleeping. And my aunt and my mom were just like looking at her and stuff. My best friend came over later that night. Yeah, that was pretty much the first thing I did. She had on a cute little outfit. I just kept it on her all day. What advice to give to other moms to be? Patience is your best friend. I'll say that, because when I just always had in mind that I would either have given birth or give birth on my due date. And so when my due date came around, I was really kind of sad. Like I literally cried. Oh, excuse me. I cried the next day after I had a doctor's appointment the day after my due date. And I was just crying. Like, they just basically told me nothing was happening. And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, how long am I going to be pregnant for? I had to schedule an induction date. I had to schedule like 3 more tests so I can make sure that I can stay pregnant with her and that nothing was going wrong. Be patient. Like, even be patient with your pregnancy. Be patient after the baby comes, because it can get frustrating. Just also trust that your baby knows what they're doing, because we have no control. The whole time we're pregnant, we just literally carrying the baby. Everything kind of happens chemically. So just really trust that your baby know when they're gonna come. Like, just know that they're gonna come when they're ready, and don't be discouraged like if you go overdue, because a lot of people go overdue and a lot of people go into labor early. People rarely deliver on their due date. So just keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that just as you're getting used to your baby, once you have them, they're getting used to you. So don't get frustrated if they don't do something right, or don't do something the same way, or don't do something how you want them to. They're still trying to get used to this world and you. So what did you take to the hospital? I took way too much stuff that I did not use. But the stuff I did use, what I took was my shower stuff, toiletries, some snacks, extra clothes. I brought her stuff too. I also brought like my crystals and my aromatherapy oils. I really thought I was about to be on that, and I really wasn't. Like, I was just in so much pain. Like, I brought headphones. I couldn't listen to music. Like, it was just painful. Like, I just really had to just endure it. And a good tip is, from what I've learned trying to prepare for my labor, was just let the pain take over. Like, it's like you can't stop it. Like, you just have to just surrender yourself and surrender your body to the pain. Yeah, you're really not gonna need what you think you need, so I just say pack light, honestly. But still, I was still prepared just in case I had to have a C-section, because you have to stay in the hospital for a couple of days. So I brought like extra clothes and like underwear and stuff. But about to say, if you bring underwear, make sure they like old and oversized, because you don't want to mess up like any new underwear you have, because you will bleed a lot. What do I wish I would have known? Well, about the hospital bag stuff, I wish I would have known I wasn't going to need all of that. I wish I would have known. I don't know. I guess I'm happy just going through the experience how I went through it, pretty much. Where did you deliver? I delivered at U of M Hospital, the women's hospital in Ann Arbor. What has eased my mind about SIDS? So honestly, nothing's eased my mind about that. I just make sure that, because she just had her first doctor's appointment, so I had so many questions. I just made sure that, I just asked her about everything. And also, there's ways to prevent SIDS too. I just know that God got us no matter what happens. So and it's just not wise to think about stuff like that, because it's really easy to worry. My review on the DockATot. So my auntie actually had one for her child first, and she was saying how he slept for like 5-6 hours at a time. And a lot of times, a lot of newborns don't really sleep. Like, they sleep a lot, but they don't sleep like that long for a time. So I pretty much just like followed her footsteps, and I really like it. She likes it. She sleeps for a long time. And yeah, that's my review on it. It was expensive. I feel like it could have been a little cheaper, but it's definitely worth it. So yeah, if you're thinking about getting a DACA tie, I say do it. Was pregnancy exhausting or did it pass fast? I say both. I had some of my days where I was like exhausted from just being pregnant, and I had some days where I was really like lively and had a lot of energy and just happy. But definitely in the beginning, I was exhausted. I was sleeping a lot. I didn't feel like doing nothing. I didn't feel like doing my hair. I didn't feel like putting on real clothes. Like, yeah, it's definitely like phases in pregnancy. It just depends on the person too. I know people who was like super exhausted the whole time, and I know people who were like okay in the beginning and then like really sick in the end. And I know people who were like just happy the whole time. Like, honestly, I'll say I was happy being pregnant, but I just wanted it to be over. I was unhappy with the fact that I was still pregnant because it was just like I want to meet my baby. But yeah, it pretty much passed fast now that she's here. And are you breastfeeding? Why and how long? Yes, I'm breastfeeding. Why? Because I'm able to, for one. Two, breast milk is like everything that they need. And then it's also better for them because they're getting like antibodies to build their immune system for like the outside world. And yeah, it's just, I mean, and then also it's like your boobs gonna produce as much as they want. So it's like, you know, it's just like, I don't know. It's just, everything is done for you pretty much when you breastfeed. For how long? Like, I haven't really thought about that yet. I'm thinking I want to do it until teeth start coming in, and I'm just gonna start pumping because I don't know if I can take that. But we'll see, because I mean, people have done it. Midwives, did you have a doula or a midwife? So a doula is a person who pretty much helps someone through labor and delivery. So the difference between midwives and OBGYNs is that OBGYNs can perform C-sections. That's really the only difference. But the difference in care is that midwives really like are open to everything pretty much. It's like whatever you want to do, however you feel fits you is what they'll support. OBGYNs pretty much like to back up things with like risk factors and facts. And well, some OBGYNs can be accepting to everything you want to do, but a lot of them like they just have medical facts and stuff. The reason why I have a midwife is I had an OBGYN for my first appointment, and I just really didn't like how she was caring for me. She kept asking me like, are you sure you don't want an abortion? Are you sure? And I'm like, why would I be at the doctor's office if I was just gonna get an abortion? Like, why would I like bill my insurance just to get an abortion? Like, that's stupid. As I explained earlier, I had a pregnancy complication and I ended up going to U of M for that. And at U of M, I got cared by a midwife. She pretty much just like reassured me that pregnancy is natural. It's not a sickness. It's not a disease. You don't need medical care while being pregnant because it's something that happens naturally. Like this is, aw, she smiled. Okay. This is something that happens naturally. So you don't need an OBGYN unless you do have complications and things that could be a risk to your health. So that's pretty much what made me want a midwife. I just really liked how she cared for me and addressed my fears with an answer such as that, because I want to be a midwife too. I told her my goals and she was telling me all these organizations and stuff I should do and things to make sure that I do. So I decided to go and get cared for by the midwives at U of M. So U of M has this cool thing where they have volunteer doulas and you get them for free for 12 hours at a time. I had asked for a doula when the pain got to being like really bad and I thought I needed some type of like motivation. So all I did was ask for a doula and they were like, all right, we'll call the line to see if anyone's available. And I ended up getting my doula. My views on vaccinations. So I'm pretty much like neutral. I don't really feed into like the, oh, this could cause this, then this could cause this. It's more so as a, why should I get them vaccinated? Like if the reasons are clear, then yeah. But if it's something like, oh, well, you just get this vaccination because this might happen or something like that, then it's just like a, okay, maybe I have to do some more research on it. But I'm not like anti-vaccine or pro-vaccine. I got all my vaccinations. I really don't see like a reason to be anti. I see why people are anti, but I would rather just like educate myself on a vaccination before giving it to her rather than just say no because it's a vaccination. My funniest part of my pregnancy was probably peeing on myself, and it was like irritating. So I full peed on myself like one time, and it was in the first trimester. So I'm like, how did this happen? Like, I don't have no baby on my bladder, but they say like it happens in the beginning just as much as it happens in the end. I'll say like in the end, it would just be like when I coughed or sneezed, or it would be like right after I peed, it would be like a little more coming out, and it's like, what? So that was probably the funniest part. Sleep schedule doesn't exist, but I know that this is just a phase. Was I still in pain after labor? No. Soon as she came out, it didn't hurt at all. Well, I had tore a little bit. That was another question on here. So I tore. I had a 2nd degree tear, which they told me was normal. I didn't feel myself tear. When they sewed me up, that hurt. And then they had to keep pressing on my stomach to like get extra blood out. That kind of hurt. I guess just because my uterus was like tender from going through all of that stress of like other contractions and stuff. Have things gotten better or worse with partner? So we were like flip-floppy. Like it would be like 1 second we'll be good and be like, oh, we having a baby, and then the next second we'll get into like a dumb argument where it would just make everything like 1,000 times worse. But yeah, I've heard that people can definitely have their relationships compromised when they're pregnant, and that definitely did happen to me. But we're cool now. We're on good terms now, and he's happy. Scariest part about pregnancy was probably just not knowing like anything really. Like, you don't have just like an ultrasound thing on you the whole time. So it's like, I hope my baby is growing right. Or if you don't feel them move for hours, you're like, oh my gosh, like you touching your stomach, like, I hope you're still alive. Or it's like, I hope I go to the doctor's appointment, I hope they find a heartbeat. Like, that's probably just the scariest part, not knowing exactly what's going on, because you can't see inside yourself, of course. Like, your body just do it all for you. How did you prepare yourself to be a mom? I honestly didn't do nothing. Okay, that was a lie. I bought some books. It's called Mindful Mom to Be. It teaches you how to just be stress-free and different yoga poses to help with pregnancy. It's like different foods in here that are healthy and that help with like they have a constipation cocktail or lactation drinks, like all natural stuff though. So if anybody that's pregnant, they had like breathing exercises, things to write down in your journal, just like exercises and stuff. A doula wrote this, so yeah, if you guys want to use this for your pregnancy, it's called The Mindful Mom to Be by Lori Bregman. I'll put it in the description. Something that helped a lot during labor was my breathing exercises, and that's pretty much this YouTube video. I can link it also in the description. But yeah, that's pretty much what helped me for my pregnancy. Those are all the questions that I got so far. So I hope that I answered them to what people wanted them to be. This is the last little like inspirational thing for y'all. Just don't let anybody who's pregnant, do not let anybody tell you that it's too hard, that you're gonna get an epidural, just don't let nobody tell you that. If you want to go natural, you can go natural. You have to, it starts with your mentality. Like I said, I didn't go into my pregnancy or into labor being scared and nervous. I was really like, I just looked at it positive. Like, I just kept telling myself, it's so many people on this earth. So many people had to go through this. I'm not alone. So just keep that in mind. Don't let anybody discourage you from that. If you have any more questions, you could put it in the comments, or, just DM me on Instagram and ask me. I'm gonna be making more videos. I'm probably gonna be talking about my hair, doing like hair regimens and my routines, and talking about more mom stuff. I just wanted to make sure I put this video out for people who wanted to know about my pregnancy, because a lot of people were asking questions and like, how did I do it and all this other stuff. Thanks for watching, and if y'all feel like this video was helpful, send it to somebody that's pregnant, or if anybody that's just curious. like the video too, and subscribe to me so you guys can see other videos coming. Yeah. Oh, she's sleep. I'ma just